Chapter 8. When the king and the royal council beheld the great wisdom of Capilya, they were struck dumb in their seats. After a while the king said, "Was it not by blood that our forefathers established Oahspe, scattering the faithless with great havoc? Shall we gather up the escaped traces, and nurse them, and have them turn upon us and bite us? Shall we not with our valiant arms defend Oahspe?" To this Capilya answered, "Sufficient unto his own battles is the God of Oahspe. If the king must need fight Oahspe battles, then Oahspe is a weak God indeed. Heaven forbid that Capilya believe in such a God, or labor for one so weak. But thou art right, O king, by blood our forefathers established Oahspe, but where is there, either in ancient or modern learning, a commandment that Oahspe shall be maintained by blood? Didst not thou thyself receive a commandment to stop the sacrifice of human blood on the altar? Is it, then, indeed a holier place, on the battlefield, that these things must continue? Man loveth vengeance, and more for this than for righteousness he desireth to inflict or destroy others. Nevertheless, all things are answered accordingly, as they are. Vengeance answereth vengeance, blood answereth blood, war answereth war. And the same rule applieth to virtue, which begetteth virtue, love, which begetteth love, peace, peace, good works, good works. For in these things our souls play a greater part than do our external bodies." One of the royal council said, "How sayest thou of rites and ceremonies?" Capilya answered, "Without rites and ceremonies the spiritual person of the state, and of the community, and of the nation, is like a man that hath thrown away his clothes, and then, with disgust, drowned himself. As the soldiers of the army have drill, which is discipline, so shall the worshippers have rites and ceremonies, which are the drill to keep one's soul in reverence for the Creator. But it falleth not to my lot to say unto you what rites, or what ceremonies, for these also come under the head of liberty." Another one of the royal council asked, "Some men, who are bad men, have great pleasures and enjoyments. Some men, who are virtuous and wise, have great trials and misery. What, then, is the prize which thy philosophy offereth to them that practice righteousness and good works?" Capilya said, "Could thine eyes see as mine have seen, or thine ears hear as mine have heard, then it were easy to answer thee. Nevertheless, I declare unto thee a great truth, which is also revealed in the doctrines of the ancients, that this is not the real life, but the embryonic state. And many that have great pleasures and enjoyments in this life, waken up as babes in heaven, whilst many who are virtuous and wise, but suffer great misery in this life, wake up in heaven in strength and glory. More are trials and exertions to be desired than ease and enjoyment, for the former causeth the soul to look upward, but the latter causeth the soul to look downward. Nevertheless, severe trials are a great injustice to any man." When the king and royal council beheld that Capilya had greater wisdom than any other man, the king said unto them, "No man in all the world hath wisdom sufficient to try my son. How say ye?" And they answered, "That is true." Whereupon the king said, "Capilya, hear thou the king's decree, and it shall be a law unto thee in all the kingdoms of the world, which is, that thou hast been tried by the greatest king on the earth, and art acquitted and declared to be above the dominion of mortals. And thou shalt go whithersoever thou wilt in any land, doing whatsoever thou desirest, and no man shall arrest thee, or forbid thee in anything whatsoever. And whatsoever law thou makest, no king shall make another law above thine, to set it aside. Wert thou not mine own son, I would say thou wert begotten by the gods." The king's decree was recorded in the House of Records, and copies of the decree sent to the tributary cities and kingdoms throughout Oahspe. Yakovrana had also a copy made of Capilya's speech, and it was also recorded and signed by the king and council, under the name, "The Foundation of Laws." Giavi said to Capilya,
I have suffered this land to endure war for hundreds of years, that they might be ready for this. Behold, they are not slow to accept doctrines of peace and liberty.
Capilya inquired concerning the laws, and Giavi said,
Trouble not thyself more. My hand is upon the king and council. They will pass laws endorsing what thou hast said. Go forth, then, my son, amongst my chosen, and thou shalt establish them anew in rites and ceremonies.